could be a little bit of a problem. Obviously, it's the first time I'm actually operating the cameras on this game, so it's going to be a little bit of a learning curve. I've also noticed, of course, that the driver list that we see on the left side has got these 3-letter abbreviations that the drivers have chosen for themselves. And with so many new drivers being on the grid this season, I really am having a hard time to figure out who is who on that list. So it's going to take some time getting used to.
It does take some practice. It definitely takes some practice. So we are looking at the glorious M6 of Andrex. He is sticking with his beloved BMW this time around. And now we're looking at Rick.
I guess we can just run through a few of the drivers, just to sort of
absolutely
get an overview of who's actually driving here, because I get a early feel of the names that we got here. So, yeah, as you said, actually I'm not sure how to say that name.
I believe it's pronounced. I believe it was previously pronounced as Rick, or Archik. I once called him, but I think it's actually Rick. He is in one of Fizzy's favourite cars. It is the Lemon. I want to say Lemon Lamborghini because we always called it. That's what Nick Meadow drove in season 8.
That's a rainbow Lamborghini.
That's a very rainbow Lamborghini, but it is the Lambo. Now, in case you're wondering why it's very, very dark, it is 6 o'clock in the morning game side time. That's why it is very, very... It's also very cold, I suspect, that kind of time. So, Rick is warming up his tyres on the back straight down between turns 11 and 12. And we have got some Z4s. I believe there's a pair of them on the field. We didn't see any of them last season. But mid-season... For Season 8, there was a big patch that completely reshuffled how the cars felt and what have you. Now, this is a new name I don't recognise, VSR Noah, so welcome to you in the green, roaring Z4.
Let's give this teaming as well. The other VSR, it's Iceberg.
VSR Iceberg? Indeed, yes. Someone I've spoken to many a time, but I haven't commentated on, so it looks like everybody is, or most people are out on circuit, so this is going to be a very, very busy qualifying session. We have a new name I don't recognise, Typek, I suspect that's pronounced, one of the TX3 representation. We've seen a number of TX3 drivers in our leagues before. They're always very welcome, and it's always good to see some new names in the leagues. It's ACR Jardier in the tiger coloured Ferrari. The previous one was in the blue Ferrari. Another new name indeed, so always good to see. Another new name again in the red and white Ferrari, Oscaro. I'm going to try this, Adalexis. Oscaro, I think we'll stick with. Although
Adalexis, I'm not sure, Oscaro, whether that's a team name or if it's actually part of his actual name. So I thought I saw another Oscaro somewhere.
Okay. Well, he is ADA, so we will make it a bit easier on you, Fizzy, and go with Adalexis. Mickersby was in a Ferrari last season. It's one of the few returning as we have. He's in a Porsche this time around. So, there's that tiger colour Ferrari. Lovely camera there. Now, I believe that is a Nissan. No, it's an Audi. I beg your pardon.
It's an Audi, yeah.
Yeah, that's, oops. Hardway. So another new name. Welcome. I believe that I have spotted a Nissan that is also white, predominantly white in colour. So I believe there is a Nissan on the field somewhere. MTZ.
Wait. I thought I went to the Nissan there, but never mind.
That's another Audi that we just spotted. Not actually sure where. Oh, MTZ's actually one on the outside, just coming through turn 12 now. As we start getting some times on the board, so now the order you've been following. That's a Nissan! It's Nick Meadow, so the Lemon Lambo driver has gone for the Nissan this time. I believe it's the only representation of the Nissan, or certainly the only one I spotted in the sign-ups this time. So he's going through. Listen to that! Oh, what a noise! That is fabulous. Who else can we find? Who's currently top of the table? That's going to be Murphy, isn't it? It is.
Yeah.
He's in a Janetta.
Race in this league because he's not on the driver list on the forum. I didn't think I saw him there. So.
Adalexis.
He might have been a late joiner.
Yeah, Adalexis has actually jumped up to the top with that 2053, but I did not expect the Janetta to be that strong. 2055.
Another new top driver.
There's Chartier in the Tiger Ferrari. He's got a blue Ferrari already ahead of him. There's Iceberg in 4. Who have we got in 5th? Now, of course, I've got to get used to who the abbreviations are. And
exactly.
Another new name, GTA Tidney. I suppose that's going to be another Audi. Decent representation of the Audi this time.
Yeah, actually, I did have an overview. Let's see. So, cars in the league this season. We've got 7 different cars represented on the grid. We got 10 Ferraris, 7 Audis, 5 BMW M6s, 3 Lamborghinis, 2 BMW Z4s, 2 Nissans, and 2 Porsches as well.
Okay, dokie, excellent. So then we've got Vernux.
The reigning champion, of course.
The reigning champion, but not in his beloved Ferrari. He was in the tiger-coloured Ferrari last time. He's gone for the M6 as well. Now he partners up. Unfortunately, his teammate is not here. He actually partners Yorkie this time around. Yorkie was at M6 last time alongside Andrex. He's decided to jump ship and go with the current champion. Fair enough. Perfectly entitled to. Next one down the list, position 7, is a stalwart here at AOR. Has been in our racing leagues a very long time. It is Rigor, and he is in that second Nismo Nissan. And he's just going on to that back straight. No, start from the straight. He's just going down. So, oh, look who's just stuck it on the top. It's Popsu again. He's gone for the Ferrari, the blue-coloured Ferrari this time. So it's good to see him returning to us. He mounted an early challenge in Season 8, but had a bit of inconsistency as the season progressed, so sadly wasn't able to continue it.
Indeed. I think this man, Fab Iceman, he has jumped up to 4th with a recent lap. So he is another new driver in the league as far as I'm aware, and setting a pretty solid start to this qualifying session. It's a 15-minute session, of course, and we're about halfway through it at this moment in time. Indeed. And he's another one of the Ferrari drivers.
He got a little bit squirrely there through the S's, which is so easy to do, especially with the temperature being so cold. The tyre temperatures being so cold, it's very easy to get very, very out of shape. Right, jump down to position 11, please, as that's where we were last time. It is... No. Oh, no.
At least at the press 11, someone moved up.
7th.
Rigor is now 11th, so that's 7th is Mr. Van Ommen.
Mr. Van Ommen, yes. A name I recognise forum side, but haven't actually commentated. Oh, there's a new jumper in position 4. Who is Leo on the board? It's Leon the sick one. I thought we'll stick with Leon, it's going to be easy to say. So another Ferrari on the table. Very nice. 2050. We've got 3 drivers that have broken that 205 barrier. And he's jumped. He came out of the pits and jumped straight back in it. Pops it with a 204.2. Very, very nice. So Mr. Van Ommen currently in 8th position and going for a very alternate route.
Yeah, just having a look at the lovely scenery around the Circuit of the Americas. It's a beautiful track, you have to say. So it's no wonder that he wants to have a little stroll around before retiring back to the pits.
Absolutely.
Back to Vernix, I have to say, I'm a little bit surprised at how far down Vernix is actually. Of course, you mentioned he's in a new car compared to what he was driving last season when he was also in the Ferrari, but it's a big gap for him, 2 seconds up to Bardwell.
Would it be fair to say that either the BMW is not well suited to the track, which is of course possible. Not every car fits every track as well as the drivers would like. But it could be that just he didn't get a decent lap. Maybe he's got caught out in traffic. Maybe he's made a mistake. Who's that currently? Oh, of course. Is that Vernux that's in 7th?
Vernix is in 11th on my one, so it's Nesterowicz.
Oh, Nesterowicz. Again, a name I recognise from the forums, but have not commentated on. So 5AC is Nesterowicz. Yeah, not that that's going to get confusing because Vernux has 5 aces at the beginning of his name as well. So yeah, it's just all of these things. I mean, again, apologies for the fact this may sound a little bit like we're guessing at what's going on, but first race of the new season, we're having to not only unlearn what we kind of became habit last time around for us, so who's in what car, for instance, but also it's getting used to the name abbreviations as well, particularly for the new drivers, as Fizzy has mentioned. There's a lot of them this time around.
Yep.
So
just want to quickly mention, because I saw a few comments in the chat, that my microphone was sounding a bit weird. I've tried to put it a bit further away from my mouth, so if you can confirm whether it sounds okay now, that'd be much appreciated. And also, KK, a little pro tip from a former broadcast role hammer. You can click the button to hide interface in the top.
Thank you.
In my opinion.
Thank you very much. Very much appreciated. I had spotted the button, just hadn't quite got so far as actually clicking it. Okay, so Popsu, where is Popsu at the moment? He's still our pole man with that 204.2. Still leads 2/10 over Jarrier at the moment. Right, who should we have a look at? Let's jump down to 11th. As Doc is a new driver in this league. Someone I've raced against in the Ginetta G40 League, but also it's someone that he actually took part in some of my own YouTube video series, so someone I've spoken about, and he was a little bit nervous when he was told he was promoted up to Elite, But he's holding a solid midfield time at the moment, 2:05.9 in that M6. So fair play to you, and he's just jumped back to the pits. 12th. Tex Wheeler, yes. Now that's the other Porsche. He's flown off the road at turn 1. Now, another new name. So welcome to you, Tex Wheeler. Who else haven't we seen yet? There's Hardway again. Where's Hardway at the moment?
It's 16th at the moment.
We just lost someone, actually. That red flash on the position board is someone that's unfortunately disconnected. Oops, he spun it at turn 1.
There's a few jars at the bottom as well. I haven't set a time yet.
Yes, unfortunately the dreaded timing bug is still in effect.
Still there, okay, yeah. That's kind of what I was wondering, because I haven't actually done much in this game since we last commentated.
Yeah, sadly that timing bug still exists, so the 3 at the bottom... one of them's just come out of the bottom, actually.
Yeah, one of
so
them is,
it could... Yeah, maybe they haven't... Oh, it was MTZ. He's just jumped into 25th. Rick and Nick Meadow are still in the bottom, sadly. Now, we've got 2 pops, unfortunately.
Oh, yeah.
Who's the one in 27th? Oh, so this one, Poppleton.
Poppleton, we're looking at the moment. So he's kind of 17 seconds off the pace. I'm not sure that is quite a representative time that he's got in the wall there.
So he's in one of the many Audis.
He's actually a sort of a veteran in the league. It's been a long time since he was in the leagues, but if I remember correctly, he did some of the seasons right at the start of the AOR GT3 leagues. Whether it was season 1, 2, or 3, it was some of those. I definitely remember him from back in the day. And now he's popping himself up to P21 instead.
An improvement nonetheless, 2:06.9, so getting a representative time on the board. 15th is Andrex, another stalwart of the season. We saw him early on. He's decided to run with no lights. Oh, he's on an argument with something. That's a very, very ugly looking BMW. So
he's definitely hit something there.
So next in the list is...
I'm just going to go back to this front a little bit, because it's only 2 minutes now left in the qualifying session. It's obviously hard for us to know exactly where the cars are on track and who might be on a really good lap. Oh, as John Deere is sort of getting... Oh, no! It's been a bit of an issue there between 2 of the Ferraris. I'm not sure there was there contact?
No, the front left light would be dead on Jardier if there was impact. Did you see the amount of opposite lock he had? That was very impressive by Jardier. No, he didn't deviate from course. I don't think there was impact unless it was lag related. I think just whoever was in the blue Ferrari just panicked and tried to get out of the way and threw it too hard and ended up throwing their car into the wall. So on board with Jardier, he is coming down towards... That's final turn. So
let's see if he can find those 2 tenths he needs to get up to pole position there as he gets the power out of the line. It's not a long run, and what can he do now? He stays in 2nd place, and he has got time though for another lap, so we'll see. Oh no! He has up to... Oh, so the
2:04.1
on this layout is actually at the end of the starting grid. Okay, then that's different to the
F1 one. Yeah, we both got caught out.
So that is actually a pole time for Jardier on his debut.
2:04.1. What a statement of intent! Just 69 thousandths ahead of Popsu, and we saw, for those that saw season 8, we saw how good Popsu is. So that is an incredible time then from him. Let's have a look. Oh, Popsu. I wonder... Well, we don't know whether Popsu was the blue Ferrari that tried to jump out of Jardier's way. But the checker flag is going to be out. It's going to come out now. So anyone...
So this is Popsu's final chance to try to get the pole back.
2:04.2 is his time. He's just come through turn 16. So now he's got the double right apex of 17-18. You can just see how slippery that Ferrari is. Throw it into 19. Don't throw it too hard because it's so easy. And someone's already gone white. You see the Hot Wheel sign on the floor. Now in the final turn. Oh, that's close. Keeping it dead straight. Does he improve? Answer is the line's a long way down for the other one.
Wait.
That's... yes, it's a very strange bug. If you scroll down to the bottom, there's lots of copies of Rick.
Oh God, Rick, what are you doing?
Nothing to do with him. Unfortunately, we can't see on the stream. We've got from 1st and 4th downwards, so we don't know who's second or third at the moment.
Well, I believe Popsu is still 2nd. Tidgeny has actually gone up to 3rd.
Well played.
Yeah.
So
And then in fourth, we got Leon, who was back in the pits.
2050.
Fifth place, still out on track. That is Adam Alexis, and he's coming towards the line now. Actually, let's see if he can prove. He's 1/10 of pole at the moment. Sorry, 1 second.
1 second.
So it's a very long track, and he has gone up to fourth place. So it's
Well played.
Pushing Vernex down to sixth, actually. And he's still out on track. He's also coming into the final corner now, so we can stay with him. Oh, but it's got a Ferrari in his way. Of course, if that Ferrari is also on a flying lap, he has no obligation to get out of the way, but that is definitely not going to help Vernex unless he gets a slipstream. And Vernex goes up. No, he stays in sixth place.
He doesn't. Unfortunately, the timing board has gone completely cuckoo for us. Rygaard coming across the line to complete his lap, and there was somebody else there, but unfortunately we didn't catch who it was. And that is everybody, I believe, that has completed qualifying. So there may well be a few cars still on track, but for all intents and purposes, the qualifying positions are now set.
They are indeed, and pole position for Georgia on his first ever race in the AOR GT3 leagues. What a performance from him.
What a stunning time. And you can see with the bits of overlay that we've actually still got, first is 2041, fifth is 2050, so not even a tenth, not even a second separates first to fifth. And to be fair, even down to Domino, I recognise Dom in 25th, the last set time there, who's Doc's teammate. So both of them promoted from the Pro division. They've actually come up to Elite. So even down to Domino, that's just shy of 3 seconds, which in some racing circles is quite a big distance, but in GT3 it's not quite so bad. But here is your official qualifying finishing there. Jardier, as previously mentioned, getting that pole spot by less than a tenth of a pop. So Tizany 3, Dad Alexis 4, Leon the 6th, 1-5, Vernex 6th, Iceman 7, Murphy 8, Mr. Van Ommen in 9th, and Nesterowicz rounds out the top 10.
Indeed, and then following on from that, 11th is Oscar Zal. We got Iceberg, Doc, Noah, Tex Wheeler, Nick Meter, Rhaegar, Rillo, Hardway, and Mark Buenza in the top 20. And then obviously we got another 9 drivers on top of that as well. Unfortunately, now the best qualifying, but of course, a long race ahead of us. There's a lot of time to make up positions.
Indeed. Now, Rick was one of the guys caught in the timing bug. We think he's actually started last, so he may have opted not to qualify, or his qualifying time was at the bottom. So we won't know that until he begins to actually race. The qualifying bug sadly keeps people stuck on lap 1. So from our perspective, they never change. It makes it very difficult to track where they actually are. But we will do our best. So for those that are new to us here at Apex Online Racing, welcome to you. So as an aside, I love the fact that top 10 board actually has the same letters as the actual top 10. I love that. It's these little details. I do like that. So for those new to where you are, welcome to you. This is an hour-long race. We've gone for a timed event as opposed to a lap count this time. Just to make sure
the timer has already started, actually.
That will reset. That does reset.
It will reset, okay.
Yes, it does. So the reason why we are sat still at the moment is this is a 2-minute period where drivers can change their setups, make any last-minute alterations they feel they need to. They're not in like a Formula 1 part firme condition where they can't make those alterations. They can change whatever they like, whatever they have time to. But of course, any changes you make carries the risk that those changes may not work. Now, everyone has confirmed they are ready. Now, what's going to happen at this point is you'll hear the standard countdown. There it is. No one will move. He says, I'm watching everybody to make sure everybody doesn't move. Someone fidgeted at the back but didn't actually fly off the line. As we do a manual rolling start. Now Jardier is going to lead the field away. So what happens here is we have essentially a parade lap, a formation lap, as you would see in other racing series, where drivers get to warm their tyres, and so they will progress at 80 kilometers an hour. Around 18 miles an hour, which is 100 and... what's that in kilometers? 120? Can't remember.
Something around that.
No, I work in miles an hour because I'm old and I'm English, so that's why...
I'm not sure about the conversion exactly. I just know 100 is about 66.
Yes, it's about 120 kilometers, give or take. So they will progress around the lap as you see them until around about the beginning of Sector 3. That's generally where the formation point is. Depending on the tracks, the very, very long tracks, the formation point is further in than that. But by and large, it is the start of Sector 3, which unfortunately for these guys is right in the middle of that twisty bit between turns 12 and 19, but that's just the lay of the land. And what will happen there is they will form the 2x2 lines that you see on the grid, and that will be reduced to 50 miles an hour, 80 kilometers an hour. I know that one to be correct. And once they get onto the start finish straight, it is up to our race leader Jardier to decide when the race will begin properly and floor it, and that will signify the beginning of the race.
That's indeed the case. It's always a very tense time for the drivers, this, especially around the track like this, that is quite long, and the formation lap is going to take quite some time. You can see they're trying to heat their tires up, trying to keep the temperature in their tires as well, and just sort of mentally preparing for the hour-long race ahead, and especially with so many new drivers on the grid. I certainly remember back in the early days of AOR, obviously I was there right from the start, but especially in the early days, and also when you're sort of starting a new league as well, it's always a little bit extra tense, because you're not quite sure what to expect, and to be honest, we have no clue what to expect.
No.
With all these new drivers as well, so it's going to be really interesting to see how these drivers fare on track, and how the sort of racing chemistry between them are as well. Hopefully we'll be able to have mostly clean racing.
And most of the drivers that have returned from last season are driving something different from what we saw them in last time, so they know what to expect from their cars and the setup. We have absolutely no idea, so that makes it even more fun for us. Now they have hit the formation point, so you're now seeing that they have formed the 2x2 lines. That will continue, like I say, until they get to the start finish straight. That is the double right-hander of turn 17 and 18, so it feels very, very slow, and your heart is in your mouth at this point. Having taken part recently in the GT3 League, again the same rules apply there, and you're just so tense, and you're just waiting for that moment where you can just absolutely floor it. And so as Jardier then goes around the final turn, now is when people are obviously paying attention to staying the correct position and not to fly into the car ahead of them. Now Jardier has, it's any time from now to the end of the grid basically that he can floor it. And there he goes. We are now racing here at the Circuit of the Americas. So forming in line then is Popsu in that blue Ferrari. Everyone pretty much behaving themselves. He's got a bit of a 3-wide going on into turn 1. That's at Alexis trying to go around the outside. He had no particular choice as there was an Audi on his inside. That is... Oh, trouble behind! That's a yellow Ferrari. It's difficult to go through the names quick enough and find them. I know exactly what you're trying to do at the moment, though. That's race leader Jardier. So, oh no, another spinner! Another spinner in the middle of the S's is Iceman. Oh, goodness me, not how he wanted his first race to go, and he's got to be very... Oh, my God!
Goodness, that's a flying Audi, I think.
Oh, there's a flying BMW right at the very back. Oh, my goodness me, who's that going to be? Is that... Mr. Van Orman was the yellow Ferrari involved in that. Mr. Nesterowitz was the black Audi. Who's behind him?
That would be
Domino. Oh my goodness!
He's missing his whole bonnet.
Look, actually, his engine bay looks empty, which of course it isn't because he is continuing. So, oh my goodness me, disaster then for his first race in this league. Back up to the front then, Jardier is maintaining just under a second's gap to Popsy, but look at the gap, second to third. That is GTA Tichney in third position. Oh, the camera's getting a little bit lost there, pointing straight down the floor. It's already nearly 2 seconds between the Audi and the Ferrari, but he has got Vernax all over his tail. Vernax had a great start. He's up a couple of positions already. So a good start for Vernax. It looks like he's actually being held up a bit by the Audi. Now we go down to Leon, who's behind our sole Ginetta in this race. That's Murphy in the car ahead, and Alexis in that Ferrari, directly behind, keeping pressure on Leon. Then here's Rilo, another stalwart of the... Oh, Rigel! Massive pack of cars here. Look at this! Rigel had to be very, very careful how he came back on track. There you see one of the green Z4s nearly pushing him along 3 wide, almost coming through 17 and 18. Very well played, no particular contact between them. There's a bit of damage on that yellow Ferrari. That's Oscar Ozal that's had an argument with something. Look at the Porsche trying to come through on the inside. That's going to be 3 wide. Impact on. That's Nick Mino in the Nissan. Smacks. Oh, that's the problem then for that yellow Ferrari. Actually missed who that was. The names are changing too quickly for me to keep up. Oscar Ozal. Oh dear, Rygel's got himself a penalty. You can see his position number is red on the board. So not a good start for him. But look at that, one of the Lamborghinis almost flying into the back of a Scarazal. Oh goodness me, it is all kicking off here towards the tail end of the field. It's too wide, you can see a few cars back as well. Goodness me, everyone is keeping each other company.
Yeah, it's been a really hectic start. I just expect with 29 drivers on the grid, and yeah, I don't know what to look at the moment. Yeah,
that was one of the Nissans that was actually blocking the camera inadvertently. Again, we need to kind of learn who's in what car. Andrex is down to 25th. A terrible start for the M6 veteran there. Oh, here we go. Relo's sniping up a move on the Z4 of Iceberg. It's going to be fairly straightforward. It looks like on the inside of turn 12, but no, the Z4's kept his foot in it, and that's Iceman that's flown past the Z4 as well. Oh, beg your pardon, that was turn 11, and there we go. That's Relo then sizing up a move. No, that's Iceman sizing up a move on Relo. Beg your pardon. So that is 4. I've completely lost track of ninth
position at the moment. Yeah.
Oh, impact! That was Iceberg in the green Z4 crashing into the back of Rigel. That is not going to help his case at all, as the camera again is looking in the wrong place. Relo's now going again. He's in 15th. Goodness me, that's it's all changing. It's all changing so very quickly. And that's Z4 on the right there. That's Iceberg giving the position back. Unfortunately, he gave back about 10 more than he needed to.
Yeah,
but
he's dropping a lot. I mean, the thing is going across the track now. It's a very awkward position for him to be in this. And clearly feeling sorry. It looked like it was his fault that he just braked too late into the corner and hit the back of Willow. And obviously, fair play for letting him back through. But that's a shame for both his and Willow's race. Andrex
then coming through to claim a position off of that green Z4. You can see him in the silver M6 just going through. He's got another new name that I'm not familiar with. 2 Desert Pack. I had to read that a few times to realise how you say it. It's in one of the silver Audis. Oh, you saw how close to the inside line that Z4 had to stick to avoid further impact then. Iceberg looks like he's going to lose the position to the Nissan of Nick Meader. And there is that very battered M6 of Domino then. He's come back up the way. He's in 26th position at the moment. But of course we don't know. Now as I've scrolled to the bottom of the list, you can see at the very bottom there's Rick, the only man that's stuck in the timing bug. He's according to the game, he's not set a lap. If we just click on where Rick is for a moment, we can try and identify who's around him. He's oops!
Oh, that's an incident there as well.
That would be Bow. I can't remember how you say it. 27th.
Poppleton, actually.
It's Poppleton. Yes, I beg your pardon. You're absolutely right. So the Audi of Poppleton then coming a cropper in the S's. That's turns 3 through to 9. And again, there looks like a bit of damage on that Audi as well, possibly, or is it just the way that the pattern looks? It's difficult to tell. Jumping up more towards the front, there's Murphy in the Ginetta, trying to keep Leon behind him. This is up in 5th position. Oh, he was very slow off of that turn 12. A Ginetta is not known for having a very high top end. It does depend how they've set them up, of course. But I imagine that Ginetta is pretty nice and handy through the corners. As Vernux is 2.5 seconds ahead of Murphy at the moment. Let's have a look at the gaps. Looks like Jarier has managed to open up a 1.5 second lead at the front. There he is. He has broken a little way away from Popsy, but not far enough that he can fully relax. One mistake is going to be... A mistake here tends to be very, very costly. We've seen quite a few already this race.
We have indeed. Yeah, it's been a lot of cars having trouble, especially in the midfield. People dropping back, and I guess it's worth pointing out when we've seen so many battles in the midfield that points are scored all the way down to 20th place now this season. Point scoring system increased from top 16 to top 20 now, so even if you have problems, there will still be a chance to get some solid points in this race if you just carry on and keep at it. You might still score some points for the championship, of course, 10-round championship as well, so a lot of points to be had throughout the course of the season for all these drivers.
Absolutely, and you see actually Leon trying. It looked like he was making himself very, very big in the mirrors of the Ginetta. Now, the GT3s aren't as reliant on overall downforce as, for instance, the F1 cars that we saw coming through this circuit over the weekend, but they still will feel the effect of being stuck underneath the car's rear wing. If nothing else, it's more frustrating if you're the car trying to get through but again, you're making yourself very, very clear and obvious to the guy you're chasing, and it starts to become a bit of a mind game, especially when you've got a longer race such as this one. Oh, you saw Leon have a think about the inside move, but the Ginetta had that covered off. Oh goodness me, he was going over the apex to try and do something about it. He slots back into line. If we jump on board with Leon at the moment, you'll see how close it is from the driver's perspective. There it is. And he's gaining, and already the Ginetta's gone for the defensive line. Leon having a look to try and go inside of that. That's very, very brave. He's now gone to the racing line. You can see the shadow of the Ginetta. He's going to hold the defensive line. Now a switchback with the Ferrari. Can he make it stick? He's still going to be on the outside. The Ginetta gets a decent drive. He can hold the inside line. Still side by side now, coming through 13 and 14. And no, he's got it done. Well played by Leon then to claim that 5th position.
Fantastic overturn again. Pulled the cutback first, had to make the move stick around the outside. Did it beautifully, and fair play as well to Murphy for keeping it clean there. Some really good battling. I think this is the highest battle, like a really close battle on the track at the moment. As you said, the top 2 have spread out a little bit. The gap between 2nd and 3rd is ever increasing, up to 4.5 seconds now, as Vernox is trying to keep up with the position. But wow, Murphy out of nowhere with surprise dive into the final corner, almost a bit of touching on the exit, and now they run side by side out of the final corner down the main straight. Who's going to get the upper hand? Murphy is on the outside though, if I can see. Yeah, so Leon should have the advantage. It's a very wide entry to that corner. It's going to be hard for Murphy to cut back underneath, especially considering that they're now heading into the S's where you don't want to be side by side. So yeah, Murphy's going to be more patient if he wants to get that 5th place back.
But again, now you've got the mind games going on the other way around. Murphy is trying. Oh, he got too squirrely. He got too greedy going into the S's. Look at the amount of time that's lost him. It's exactly what I was saying before. One mistake, especially there, is very, very costly. He was too greedy going into the S's. Went a little bit too deep and had to completely get out of it. And that has lost him. That's actually lost him over a second. Now, if you're used to kind of thinking about things from a Formula 1 perspective, that would be half a second at best. That's actually 1.5 seconds to these GT3 cars. So that battle may be done, maybe not. It could be that the Ginetta closes back in. Now looking at Alexis, trying to keep Iceman behind him in the pair of Ferraris. They're not too far off the back of that Ginetta. That's 2.5 seconds, give or take, between Alexis and Murphy. Now on the heli-cam, you can see that Iceman is trying to get into that slipstream. He's a little bit too far back, really, to make use of that. But he's very, very close. Now, so Alexis is going to have to keep an eye behind him. And you saw how he had to go for a defensive line. He wasn't confident to stick
very
to...
defensive.
Yeah, he wasn't confident that Iceman wasn't going to throw it on the inside. So he had to go for the defensive line. And if you're thinking about having to... Ooh, that's close! If you're thinking about... Do I have to defend? Oh no, that's too close! Big old impact between Iceman and Alexis. Now, Iceman backed off at that particular point, as is correct etiquette. He got too close to Alexis, and I think Alexis was slower than Iceman was expecting, so he then pushed the Ferrari forward. But as is correct etiquette, he has backed off to ensure that Alexis remains in that position. That's lost him 7/10 or so, but by the look of it, Iceman will be able to close that down. There's a Ginetta as well. That's a couple of cars up, so it looks like the Ginetta's lost the back of the Ferrari he was chasing, so that battle may be done, but it doesn't mean we're not going to see another one soon.
That is true indeed. I think now with 15 out of the full 60 minutes to go in the race, we might as well just have a little look through. So Jadier on a pole position, and he's pulling away in the race as well, now increasing the gap to 2.2 seconds over Popsu, one of the standout drivers from Season 8, who is also having a solid debut here, and the gap even more increased now between 2nd and 3rd. Tidgeny having a tough time keeping up with the top 2, but he's still in a podium position with Vernox, the reigning champion, hanging out 3 seconds behind him. And then, of course, the battle we saw, Leon now pulling away from Murphy in that Ginetta. And then still close between the 2 Ferraris of Alexis and Iceman. And the final 2 top 10 positions at the moment is TX3 Chapek and Rygor, one of the veterans in the race.
Indeed, the lead Nissan then holding on to that 10th position. He's 3.5 seconds between himself and Tex Widow. We've just lost someone, I think, from the race. Oh, look at that. That's Mickesby and Ascarazal side by side heading down through... I've actually lost track of where we are a little bit.
This is battle 13th, I believe.
It is. I was meaning where we are on track. You can bring up the map. I think you should have an option to bring up the map on this one, Fizzy. There we go. That helps identify who is where. We have actually someone in the pits actually, but that's probably
a couple of cars, I think.
Yeah, I think one's retired and I think another one's Rick. But look at this, we've got quite a stream of cars here. Mickersby jumping out from the back of Ascarazal. He's committed quite early to an inside line. Is Ascara going to get... Ooh, and now it looked like Ascarazal went to do the switchback but bailed for some reason. I'm not entirely sure why that happened. Ooh, as Mickersby got a bit deep there on turn 13. That's allowed Ascarazal through. Can he hold on to it? The Porsche is now going to have the inside line, but he's spun it! Oh!
The rears.
Oh, but he's managed to get out of the way. Well recovered then. He's going to be able to recover fairly well. He's staying off the racing line. Well recovered. That's down to 19th. A massive costly mistake.
Still in a point-scoring position, of course, but that's a lot of points down the drain there for Mickersby. A very unfortunate mistake to make. I think he just got a little bit too brave on the brakes as he was trying to hang on to that position. And that is, of course, what can happen if you're not too careful. And
we have a Z4 that's flown off the road, 3 cars back. So I'm not entirely sure who that was. That's Bowett. How did you say this earlier? Bowency?
I have no clue how I said it. Bowency, yeah, that sounds about right.
So he's in one of the Lamborghinis. Oh, there's that very heavily damaged BMW of Domino. There's Iceberg in the... Oh dear, that's 2 Desert Pack, I think, that's facing the wrong way. Oh no, it's Nick Meadow. It was Nick Meadow. Oh, goodness me. He didn't have much luck in the Lemon Lambo last season. He's not having much more luck in the opening race in the Nissan, but of course the season's much more, much longer, so it is... Oh, you saw the tail step out of that Nissan there. So, of course, a 1 bad round isn't as costly as it was last season. Look at that. That's Ascarazal. Oh no, big one. That's well, it is Ascarazal. That's Noah as well. That's trying to defend from that Ferrari. Oh no, another spin. Oh goodness me. That's Ascarazal then. Oh no, it's not Ascarazal. Beg your pardon. Ascarazal's the car ahead. I'm not reading the interface right. I've got hours.
Mr. Van, who had a little spin there.
Yes.
So a lot of mistakes so far in this race. Seems to be quite interesting. Self-inflicted ones.
Yeah, there are quite a few. I've seen a few bumps and scrapes already gone on so far, but yeah, it's a surprising amount of unforced errors going on. And Noah now with Andrex all over his tail in that silver M6. That is one of the Audis shortly behind. There's MTZ in 16th position, getting a little bit wide there. Noah trying to keep the M6 veteran behind him as they now come through. The double right-hander 17-18. It's a shame the Z4 doesn't get more representation. I do love the noise of that Z4. On board then with Andrex, so you can see that's what a second looks like, there or thereabouts. Nice and steady through turn 19, now heading down to the final turn. You've got Ascarazal 2 cars up. He's chasing Relo. They're about a couple of seconds apart as well. So they're still fairly tightly compact. A little bit of damage on the front of that Ferrari as well. That won't help him a great deal. There's one of the few Lambos we have. There's our Noah. Oh no, that Lamborghini I bet is Rick. Oh, who's the Ferrari that's going slow?
Yeah, it must be... wait, let's see.
So Rick is in the Lambo. That's why I couldn't track where he was.
Yeah.
Nick Meadows in the pits, so he's taking
Rick is actually in 14th then, if he's ahead of Noah.
Yes, I was getting a bit confused with because of course the overlay at the top is wrong because the game thinks Rick is in 28th. That's why I got slightly confused on who was in which position. Again, apologies for when that confusion happens. We are still getting used to who's in what car and what have you. It will get better as the season goes on. There is our race leader Jardier. He's lost time to Popsu.
Yeah.
That's now 1.6, and looking at the lap times, Popsu was a 2:05.5 last time around, and Jardier was half a second down. That would explain. But certainly if Popsu's done a couple of laps like that, and Jardier can't really afford to coast too much. With still another 40 minutes in the race to go, and I wonder if Popsu got a little bit squirrely there, unless that's just the way that the camera made that look. Let's see what the lap times are this time around. It's nearly 10 seconds between Popsu and GTA Tijni. Gives me these two Ferraris have absolutely stormed away.
Yeah,
so
Popsu's faster.
By 3/10 that time around. So again, he's now beginning to get the hammer down. It looks like Popsu consistently getting in the 2:05.5s, although the tail just twitched a little bit on the blue Ferrari of Popsu. That's what it looks.
On board with him as we go through the lovely section out of the SS. Was a fun section to drive. Very easy to, as we saw earlier, one of the drivers did just mess up the line a little bit, and then you're sort of screwed for the whole complex going through here. It's such. You need to be sort of precise with the steering and the line you take, and that was a very tight entry to that corner, but maybe that's how you need to take it in these GT3 cars. And looked pretty solid for Popsu, but I don't think he's really close too much more on the leader at the moment. Actually, he's lost a bit of time.
Hey, it can happen. If as mentioned before, one mistake is extremely costly in those essays, and you will lose a colossal amount of time. Yeah, now 2.3 between the two lead Ferraris, so Popsu was slower than Jardier, but again, that could be setup difference. If Jardier's got higher wings on the Ferrari, he's going to be definitely quick through that SS section, and it's that straight where Popsu will start to reel him in. And it's only about 2 seconds though, so no, it may not be a setup difference, it's just Popsu was a little slower through the S's than Jardier was.
Yeah. One interesting thing, obviously, you mentioned setup differences. It could also be tire differences on these cars. I mean, normally we don't really talk about tire differences, but according to good old Yorkie, one of the drivers in the league, unfortunately couldn't attend this season opener because he's at a birthday party. Of course, one of the guys that work with the game as well for Slightly Mad Studios, he said to me before the race that it could be close, actually, the decision between whether to go on the soft or the hard tires for this race because of how the track temp is. And of course, when it's cooler is when the soft tires work better, and when it's hotter is when the hard tires work better.
Yeah, we didn't see the soft tire pretty much at all last season, yeah. or if we did, it was one race maybe when we had the night race at Monza. It was probably the only time that soft tires were even viable. I mean, we had Laguna Seca last year. Good luck running soft tires in the desert. They will melt pretty quickly. Look at the battle we have here. This is fourth. Leon in the Ferrari with Vernux. So Vernux has actually lost that fourth position. He was the BMW was in fourth for quite a long time, and yeah, you can see on the lap times 2:09 dead for Vernux. Look at the difference between him and the leaders, though. That is a colossal difference. Yeah, Jardier actually was 7/10ths quicker than Popsy last time around. 2:05.3 is one of the quickest laps we've seen so far.
Yeah, so what has happened to Vernux?
Well, the car doesn't look damaged, so unless it could be a tyre preservation thingy, it could be maybe he's running the harder tyres and those ahead of him running the softer tyres. We don't know.
Could be the case. Obviously, the interesting with the starting time as well, because the in-game time at the start of the race was 7 a.m. So of course, the track temperature as well will get hotter as the race goes on. So it might be the case that if you choose the soft tyre, they might work better at the start of the race, and hard tyres might work better at the end.
Absolutely.
So that's another interesting thing that to consider. Obviously, we won't really know who are on which tires, but for the drivers, that's something to sort of think about, and that could make the pace difference change a bit throughout the race. As Vernux has another problem now, it looked like a really slow exit for him.
Yeah, it did a little bit. I'm also noticing quite a lot of understeer in some cars, which again could be they've just pushed too hard at certain points, and that Ginetta is back on the case of a Ferrari. So Murphy is chasing Iceman now. So this is for 6th and 7th position. See, the Ferrari looks okay there, but the number of times I've seen, that was turn 16. I've seen a number of times where the tyres just do not bite in. Have to keep an eye on that, but the Ginetta keeping the Ferrari company at the moment as they come through to turn 19. There in the background you see that will be Adalexis. That's there he is now. Last time we saw Adalexis and Iceman, they were together, so there's been an issue there between the two Ferraris, and the Ginetta has jumped in the way. So Adalexis has got some chasing down to do. Now in 8th position, it's Murphy representing the Ginettas quite well at the moment.
He's indeed, yeah, the Ginettas. Like I said, I wasn't even sure Murphy was going to be on the grid because I didn't see him listed on the forum. And suddenly we have a Ginetta here as well, which means there's 8 different cars on the grid actually, instead of the 7 I mentioned at the start of the broadcast. So that's always good with a bit of extra sort of variety in the cars. And look at how close he's getting! He's cutting underneath in the S's! That's unbelievable! The amount of speed he was carrying through there, and it's still on the outside! Well, that's actually... Yeah, it's still going through these wiggly corners. Oh, but there's a little bit of banging there as well. The Ferrari's been forced that wide, and Murphy takes the apex to get that position. So that is up to 6th position. That is not a type of overtake that we expect to see.
I know the Jeanette is small, but my God, you have to have some incredible faith in the grip of your car to throw it on the inside, right in the middle of the S's. But this kind of comes back to what we were saying before, where the Jeanette might be running a higher downforce, or is just simply better suited to that kind of twisty maneuver. It being a smaller car, you can kind of see actually in that shot the width difference with the Ginetta. I mean, the Ginetta looks small enough you could put the thing in your pocket, but he's overdone it into turn 12. You can see he got very, very squirrely. Iceman wasn't quite close enough at that moment to capitalise on that. But the more they fight, the more that's going to bring out Alexis into it. On board now with Iceman as they come through to turns 15 and 16. Looked like the Ginetta got a little bit out of shape coming through that particular turn, but still going fairly well. Now coming through the double right-hander through 17 and 18, and look at the gap that the Ginetta is able to get in the corners.
It's so good in the high-speed corners, it's ridiculous.
Well, again, rather exploited that very, very well through the S's. That's how he was able to throw on the inside. I think Iceman may have made a mistake, but most people would not have the car to stick one on the inside during those corners. Now is when Iceman is going to start reading the Ginetta in. You can already see he's beginning to close in. You watch the timing just drop and drop and drop. He's not going to be close enough. I was going to say he's not going to be close enough to throw on the inside of one.
Oh, he's very close. That's a bit of contact even, I think.
It was a tiny bit of contact. Set the Ginetta slightly out of shape. Now, one of them are going to side by side through two, but not quite. Iceman is now going to have to stay behind that Ginetta. And if Murphy is able to exploit the extra grip of that car again, you saw Iceman went a little bit deep, but is keeping up with the Ginetta. And there he goes again. Look at that. That's about 3/10. Yeah, 3/10 again. Something like that Murphy's just able to open up in this one section. That's incredible. And he's going to lose it again on the big straight between 11 and 12. So there we go. They were about 2/10. Well, they were nearly in. Iceman was nearly in Murphy's boot at the beginning of the lap. So now you see what the timing is. It's about 6.5 tenths as they've gone through that turn 11. There's Alexis in the background, but he's not going to be involved in this just yet. Let's see what the time gap is when they hit turn 12. It's coming down. So it's gone down 2 tenths already. He's probably going to go to another one. Yeah, 3 tenths, near enough between. That's how much time Iceman gains. Again, you saw the Ginetta get too deep into 12. He's probably concentrating too much on the fact that Ferrari's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. It's not what he needs to do. He should know that he's just definitely quicker in these turns, or he's rather proved it. He needs to just focus on getting through the turns quicker than the Ferrari. He's gone too deep though. Just managed to get the traction when he needed it, but that's going to leave him very, very vulnerable down the start-finish straight.
Yes, indeed, yeah. He's having to cope with all sorts of pressure. Luckily, there's this high-speed corner for him that allows him to pull a couple of car lengths now. Back on the Ferrari, and final 2 corners of the lap as we're heading towards a halfway distance in the race. Murphy fighting hard to keep hold of 6th position there. Of course, I believe there's about 3 points for the championship in terms of a difference between 6th and 7th place. This could be quite crucial throughout the season, obviously. We've seen so many close battles in the championship in the past that even 3 points could prove costly for 1 or even 2 positions. Ferrari, again, not close enough here. So I think, let's have a look. I think we did have a battle for 11th place between Tex Wheeler and Zal. But it seems like they have swapped around, because I think Wheeler might have been 11th before. That's my memory has completely eluded me there.
He's not too far off the back of Rigel, though. There you see him in the Nissan, and Rigel's not too far away from Taipei in the I forgot what he's in. What's Taipei in?
Taipei is
in the Ferrari.
The Ferrari as well.
So yeah, you can see 4 cars in that particular shot. They're separated by, give or take, about 6 or 7 seconds. Again, Murphy trying to fend off. I thought
he seems to be struggling in the slow corners, and then he's really good in the fast corners.
Oh, he's going to be vulnerable. There's less than 3 tenths when they start that particular straight, and that's a very long straight. That Ferrari. Oh, he's staying in the sleeping. Now he goes to the inside line. Murphy has got no answer. He knew he had no answer. Is he going to try and switch back? No, he's going to try and string around the outside.
Oh.
Is he going to hold on to it? He knows he's got the inside for the next corner. That is brave. It's bold. It's nicely done. But can he hang on to that position? Murphy now trying to switch back. Oh, that's only really going to work if you've got the grip to do it, which Murphy...
Switchback galore with these open corner entries. It's just invites the switchback so much, and but still Murphy is able to hang on to the position.
Fair play. Now, he would have realised that he'd lost turn 12. He didn't go for the defensive line, but he knew if he planned it so that if he could hold on to the outside line of that, he knew he had two inside apexes for 13-14. But now he's going to be vulnerable again. He's less than 3/10. 3/10 seems to be the magic number for how much time he's going to lose on a long straight. So Iceman's already within that. It's a not too slow a corner, turn 20, and there you go. I thought he might go for a defensive move. There's Alexis closing in on the pair of them. So Murphy not chancing, leaving that window open, and straight away Iceman's gone for the switchback. He has nosed ahead, so he's going to try and get an outside maneuver on turn 2.
Oh, this is going to be interesting. Side by side into the S's. I was just going to... Oh, no, Murphy backs out of it. He realised that is probably not going to be the best idea.
But he's going to wait for his opportunity, as he did before, to try and throw one on the inside. I think if he tried it again, I think Iceman's wised up to it, so it could go quite messy if he tries it again. Now Alexis is right there. Murphy would have wanted Alexis on the back of Iceman instead of on the back of his own car to try and get the Ferrari off of his tail, but that's not worked out for the Ginetta. But I would imagine Murphy is going to be quite pleased with their performance so far. I mean, especially with the amazing manoeuvres he's managed to pull off so far.
Yeah, it's worth pointing out actually, thanks to Smoking Puppy for reminding me actually that Murphy is the reigning champion on the Xbox One side from last season. So he's moved over to the PC from the Xbox One where he was the champion, and clearly showing that he has some racing talent in this race today as well.
And Alexis then making his presence known in Murphy's mirrors. Oh, that would have been a dangerous lunge if he tried that. I think he realised in time that he didn't have the space to pull that off. And Alexis is in striking range now. Half a second separates the Ginetta and the red and white Ferrari behind. Now coming through 15-16 again into the double right-hander. This is where Murphy needs to try and close down the Ferrari ahead. It seems to be where he's got the advantage on board then with the Ginetta. He has closed in. He's closed in 2/10 in those two corners alone. But this is where he's going to lose that time again, and Iceman will know it as well. So Iceman won't feel the need, or shouldn't feel the need to defend too hard. Oh, the tail again stepping out on that Ferrari, or it did on the Ginetta as well to a lesser extent. Now down the start-finish straight, Iceman will run off a little bit, and Alexis will be right there, but he's down to 1.5 behind now, so he essentially lost a second in that section. Goodness.
It's worth pointing out as well that Rigor has had a bit of a problem. He was running quite solidly in 10th position. He's now down to 13th. So I believe he's had a little mistake somewhere in that Nissan Nismo machine. So he's lost out to Oscar Zell, first of all, who's moved into the top 10 on his debut race here. Would be a solid finish for him if he can keep that in the yellow Ferrari. He's not too far behind Tapek as well. He might want to get some more, so he was 8/10 quicker than him actually on the previous lap, so Zal may be looking for even more positions in this race. Tex Wheeler now up to 12th with Rillo up to 11th, and then Rillo up to 12th. We of course was it Rillo who had some he had some problems at the early part of the race when he was hit by Iceberg. How's Iceberg doing? He's still down in 23rd, the position he dropped to after that particular incident. So he's not really been able to recover too much. Might be was carrying a bit of damage as well. And then it looks like this a close battle and
whoa!
Definitely is. Side by side between Noah and Van Ommen there, and Mr. Van Ommen, gosh, struggling with that name. Mr. Van Ommen takes that position, 15th place.
I don't think you're the only one that struggled with that name somehow. Now, in that mixture, I did see him was the Lamborghini of Rick. Now, as previously mentioned, he's the one stuck in the timing box. So on the chart, he's down in last. He was around, I think he's in between Rillo and Rigor, if I remember. There is Rick, and that is, I think that's Rillo in the Ferrari.
Yeah, I think it
is. So if the camera will correct, there we go. So Rick is actually in 13th, fair effort in the Lamborghini for him. So you have to remember that 13th downwards is essentially +1. But yeah, he's having to really work hard to keep that big old Lamborghini behind him. how they naturally balance out. But it's all down to setup, really, as to where you're going to get the biggest gains. GTA Tisney in third position's got Leon right with him as well.
Yeah, Leon's been catching.
He's 20 seconds behind the lead pair. That
Tisney must have had a problem last lap because it's a 2:10.2. That is nearly 3 seconds slower than Leon, in fact. So Tisney maybe started to struggle a little bit, or just having a one-off mistake. But either way, it's now a very close battle for the final podium position, which you always like to see.
Indeed, yes, and Leon's not going to want to let that go in a hurry. Wow, again, you see the difference in the setup between the two. The Audi really able to get some decent distance, exactly as we saw with Murphy and the Ginetta, seeming to have the setup for the corners, where the Ferrari is probably a little bit smoother in their aero design. And he's going to reel in at Tisney to a point, but probably not close enough. He's 8/10 down at the moment. He's not going to be in a striking position by the end of the straight, I would imagine. Might throw it on the inside, but no, he wisely decides not to. There in the background, you can see that is Vernux. You saw the headlights in the background. Just at the top of the shot there in his M6. And there again, you see how the Ferrari has gotten back on Tisney's case, but it's through this section with Tisney. Oh, not if he does that though. He got very, very wide actually coming into 16, and this has allowed Leon to stay on the back of the Audi. They come through now, the double right-hander 17-18. There you go. You see how you can visibly see how the Audi's able to pull away, and that's nothing to do with acceleration. That's purely downforce. Don't go too wide, Leon. So easy to do. You get that apex wrong, you will fly off the road. Now we could potentially see Leon really pile the pressure on. Tisney's had a decent drive out of 20, and it's not a particularly long straight, 22 turn 1. And again, looks like Leon remains in fourth for the moment.
Does indeed. But another wiggle for Tisney going through turn 1 there. He managed to get it settled though. Leon didn't really have anywhere to go, even if he wanted to try and go past him there. Tessa settled behind, but yeah, it does look like Leon has the momentum out of these two at the moment. Tisney is trying to just hang on a little bit there, clinging on to that third place. And Leon, of course, on his debut race, well, both these guys on their debut race in this league. It will be interesting to see who sort of has the mentality, who has the patience to if Leon has the patience to wait for his move rather than make a rash decision and try to go for it and potentially cause an incident.
Absolutely, patience is exactly the right word. And look at that, Tisney was very slow through turn 11. I thought he was going for a slightly unusual line. Leon had a great drive. He's now going to be in a prime opportunity to attack into turn 12. But it's so easy to focus too much on the car ahead and not think about the manoeuvre you're going to do on them. You think, oh, they're very close, I must make a move, I must think about it. Oh, has Tisney gone a bit deep? No, I think Leon actually broke very early for 12 for some reason. Why he broke that early, I'm not sure. But it's so easy to get a little bit of tunnel vision, think too much about the car ahead and not the manoeuvre you're going to do. And you then end up either losing time or making a mistake and spinning off or something. But this is where the patience and the kind of mental attitude comes into it, of how well can I keep the pressure up but not make a mistake and throw it all away, and conversely, how you as the defender can maintain the lines you're doing. Especially if you've been chased by someone for a while, you will get an idea on where they're stronger than you, where you're stronger than them. So you've got to plan that many steps further ahead. Yeah. Okay, I can take these corners quicker. Oh, goodness me! Like that.
That didn't exactly work out for Leon there.
No, it didn't.
Did not intend to go that wide, I don't think, in the exit. But yeah, he's definitely... he can turn into a bit of a mind game. Is that Rick actually coming out of the pits? It is. Rick must have had a problem. He's been in the pit. I don't think you really need to make a pit stop in this race. I think the tires, whether you go for the softs or the hard, they should both be able to last the distance. He's got damage on the car though. There was actually a crack on the windscreen, so he hasn't had a big hit, but it was obviously enough that unless he's underfueled the car, which is possible, I suppose, you can go for a light run to start with. It hasn't really, if that's what he was trying to do, that hasn't paid off for him. I wouldn't have thought you would underfuel the car intentionally. Maybe it's just clicked wrong or something. But it does take some time to add fuel to the car. and I don't think it's really worth it, the extra time you might gain by having a slightly lighter car throughout the race.
Oh.
So I would think that everyone's touching the full tank as they're touching, well, something. Coming onto the back straight, and look how close Leon is now to Tisney. This surely will be a side by side as we come into the heavy braking zone. Tisney now actively defending properly for the first time here, and will Leon be able to brake later? Tisney wiggling around a little bit, bang in the middle of the track. Leon trying to go around the outside. Oh, and he's just about kept it on track there. He will have now the inside because of managing to do that. Tisney under pressure, and he does lose the position. Leon up to third place and heading towards the podium.
Very well played by both of them. Again, it would have been too easy to defend too hard and cause an incident or lose yourself time. They've stuck to their lines. They realised when the move was done, and off they go then. Actually, very, very well played. Tisney not giving up on it. He's staying with the Ferrari, but I think it's going to be the case. Oh, Leon, that's very deep into 19. He did have to get out of that to avoid flying off the road. Disney may be able to pressure for a mistake, but I think he will know that unless Leon makes that mistake, he's got no real chance pace-wise of keeping up with the Ferrari, it looks like. Oh, he's happy with that. He gave us a flashlight last night.
Good celebratory flashlight going on there for Leon. He doesn't really have any chance to gain any further positions now because the gap up to the top two is very massive, 25.5 seconds. Top two, and Georgia completely in the class of their own, you have to say.
Absolutely.
We know how fast drivers like, for example, Vernox, the reigning champion, sitting in 5th place at the moment. Murphy, the reigning X1 champion, sitting in 7th. And then you look at the gap, it's 30-40 seconds from those guys up to these top two. It's insane, the pace that these guys are showing. Really, really impressive so far. And
it's been that way all race long. It's not like they've suddenly found it. That's the pace they've been doing. They've been in the 205s, 206s all race long. I think I spotted a 205.1 from Jardier earlier. And look at the gap. I think Popsy got slightly out of shape there between 12 and 16. So I think he's lost a little bit more time perhaps. But we saw some incredible racing from Popso. We're seeing some incredible racing from Popso again, to be fair. But it does look like Jardier's got the measure of him at the moment. There's Leon, and that's the gap between himself and Tisney, just shy of a second at the moment. The Audi is doing a fairly decent job of hanging on to the back of that third place Ferrari, but it's going to be a tall ask. It's going to be a mistake, really, that's going to hand that podium position back, I think. And now, because Rick's a lap down, we don't know what position. Well, we're assuming Rick's in last because he's now lapped.
I was just going to say, how do I bring up the menu with the penalties? Because Leon actually does have a penalty.
That's the... I've forgotten what it's called.
Yeah, and I can't see a button for it. But what we do know is that Leon has got a penalty, so that could potentially be that he will need to pull a gap on Tisney to keep that third place position by the end of the race.
It's been a while since I've done Race Director, so I've actually forgotten the name of the buttons at the bottom. That's quite bad. You've got the standings one, which I think is the one on the left. No, that's not it. That's the one that we never used. That's the standings one. That's the... No, not that one. There we go.
Oh, there
so
we go. That's the one.
1 second for Leon.
It's a whole 1 second.
Yeah. So that's like
for Alexis.
So,
and then you look at Villa and Vega with 30 seconds.
And 3 for Nick Meadow as well. Now, the 30-second ones tend to be appealed post-race. They don't tend to stick. It's where a driver has gone wide and the game has advised them to give the position back. Sometimes they have to run wide. Sometimes they're pushed wide. Sometimes they have to do it through avoiding action. But the game assumes they've just ignored a corner cut and whacks a great big timing on it. Great big time penalty on there. So they tend to be appealed later on. So Rita and Rigor, we can fairly ignore them. And the 1 second ones is where they haven't lifted off enough to negate a penalty, and the game just adds a second on there. They've usually lost about 2.5 to 3 seconds by that point anyway, so they have served most of the penalty.
Yeah. Well, at least we know then that both Alexis and Leon carrying a 1 second penalty, which of course means that if Alexis was to pass Murphy here, he also would need to pull a 1 second gap to keep the position. Murphy has been very much under pressure. He's dropped away from Iceman. He's running away in 6th place at the moment, but still hanging on ahead of Alexis. And still looking strong in that Ginetta, you have to say.
Absolutely, yeah. He's making those around him work for those that are faster than him. He's making them work for the pass, which is, it's good to do. I mean, you could easily think, oh well, I'm slower, I'll just let you go. Whereas he's under no obligation to do that, of course. And again, he's not making it easy for those around him, which is good to see. I think that's not good. A little bit.
Those problems. He seems to have so many of these problems in the slow corners. Just he seems to lose the grip, like during the corner as he turns in. So it seems that Ginetta isn't really a fan of going slow, which you could say is a good thing. But, in those kind of corners, it's not really that great.
I think we're going to see the best of the Ginetta in certain Fuji. I think is going to be quite a nice circuit for. That's quite a nice one to have on. You can see actually the amount of throttle they're putting on, although that's the throttle amount you're seeing there. That the driver's got their foot nailed to the floor. That's where traction control is helping moderate the throttle. So that's not the driver doing that. That's the driver aids.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, it's worth pointing out, I guess, that we are allowing traction and ABS, or are we running the wheel assist? Now we're completely forgotten.
I think it's generally been real assist in the past.
Yeah, but I think most of these cars have traction and ABS anyway.
Some drivers choose not to use them, which is personal preference. They are there should they choose to use them. The one that isn't, the one's not on any of the GT3 cars is stability control. The one you see greyed out at the bottom, and for good reason. Well, it's not on the cars by life, so that's why they're not available to the drivers. But what the stability control tends to do is bring the nose in line with the tail. So if the car thinks that there's a bit of a slide going on, it understeers like hell, which is the safer way of doing it, of course. But for a racer, that's not a lot of use.
Very, very true. I'm just going to quickly jump down to 18th position because it looks
Oblitor.
Between three cars. Oblitor. We haven't really looked at him much. I'm assuming he's Rick's teammate, considering they're running the same Lambo livery there. Beautiful rainbowy style there.
He's got Doc right with him.
Doc. And then we have two Desert Pack.
Two Desert Pack.
Sure.
Yeah, we saw him involved in an incident early on. I think there's a bit of damage on the front right of the Audi. Doc has he started well, but I think he lost positions early and hasn't had a great deal of opportunity to regain them. So he's stuck right in the middle. Oh, hello, the Audi throwing it on the inside of the BMW. Oh, that was close. Firm but fair, but Doc maintaining the momentum, and that Z4 just ahead is Noah. That is eye on the prize for them. Oblitor I've commentated on before. He's a member of our endurance leagues, or has been involved in our endurance racing, so he's someone I've seen before. That Z4 is very slow for some reason.
It's interesting. He's struggling throughout the corner. It's actually is that M4 M6, isn't it?
The green, Doc is in an M6, yes.
Is the green, yeah, okay.
Yeah, the green one's a Z4, yeah. So
and he's struggling, because he's all closing up now. He's turning into four-way scrap.
Ooh.
Definitely, and near contact again between Doc and
two Desert Pack.
Yes.
Yeah. An unusual name for sure. I mean, Doc seems to be struggling a little bit at this phase in the race. Maybe the tyres are completely dead. And now I spotted the Lambo. I thought the Lambo. Oh no, sorry. It's just how it looks on camera. I thought the Lambo was flashing as lights at the Z4. That's a little bit disingenuous. You can. It's a little bit frowned upon unless you're lapping the car. That's the only time you're allowed really to do it. Doc's gone for a defensive line, and two Desert Pack is staying in that slipstream. He's now going to go back to the outside. Doc's staying towards the defensive line. It's going to compromise his entry into turn one, but it is pretty wide. It's wide enough for pretty much an army of buses to go through there. And he remains in that position unless two Desert Packs going to try and overtake and manoeuvre. But he's really keeping the pressure on that M6 at the moment. They now come through the S's once again. And
it is, of course, the battles for the very final points positions, 17th down to 20th. So there are points in making these overtakes, but I don't think two Desert Pack is going to make any more overtakes, and he's actually going to lose the final point position as well with that spin.
To Mark Bowensi
goes through and will certainly take that free point that he might get there. Of course, still 10 minutes for two Desert Pack to try and get it back, but yeah, that's not ideal.
Murphy's had a problem.
Oh no!
I spotted a shuffle in the list. He's had a problem somewhere. He's down to 8th, and now he's 7 seconds behind Alexis. As we were focusing on the bottom, on that battle rather, I just spotted a shuffle at what was at the top of my list at the time. And yeah, Murphy's had a problem with the Ginetta, miles behind. His lap time this time is going to be pretty sorrowful, I would imagine. But we've seen him have trouble mainly at that turn 12. Seems to be where 12 and 16 seems to be where he's losing a lot of time. And there you go, 2:16 was his last lap. He lost, he was doing 2:07s. He's lost 9 seconds there.
Yeah.
Ouch. And
I wouldn't be surprised at all if that was a problem within one of those slow corners. Because it's been wheeling about a lot. And the Bear might have just finally decided that he's had enough. And taken him for the full donut.
Yeah, it could be.
Which means that, of course, Alexis against a few points there, up to 7th position. Murphy, though, still at least has a solid gap down to Tapak in 9th position. He's only a couple of seconds ahead of Oscar Zal, that final top 10 spot. And it seems to relatively spread out. 4 further seconds down to Wheeler, 4 further seconds down to Willow.
Oh!
Quite a big gap, 12 down to Nesterovic, but he's in a battle actually. Andrex was in 14th place. It must be mentioned, Andrex, I believe, he started 25th. And he's gained a lot of positions, 11 up in the race. And now he might get another assist right on the back of Nesterovic, who is returning to the league after being in one of the previous seasons. I think he was in around season 4 or 5 for a bit. And then he took a break, and now he's back to show the world what is it.
Returning triumphant then. So that's Andrex. And at the back of the shot, there it is, the yellow Ferrari. That's... I can't remember how you pronounce his name again. It's the Van Ommen. With Rigel rather right in tow. So this 4 are beginning to condense, it looks like. So Andreas is going to have a fair bit of work to do to try and clear the car ahead, so that he doesn't end up sandwiched in this particular battle. It's not what he wants to do, because the M6 doesn't seem to be awfully strong here, which some tracks aren't. As mentioned before, one car doesn't suit every single track perfectly well. The M6s have proven a little bit sensitive to some tracks in the past, but seems to be what Andrex favours. Most of the time I've seen him running in the GT3s, it has been in his beloved M6.
Yeah, he is definitely a fan of that BMW. I just want to quickly jump back up to the front just to point out that the gap has actually gone down a bit again. He's nearly down to 2 sequds now.
Jardier lost nearly 2 seconds last time around.
Yeah, so he's had a really bad lap. And look at the lap jump from Pops to 2:05 flat. I'm not quite sure what the fastest lap of the race is, but that can't be far off. Not sure if any of these guys have been in 2:04s yet, but that would just be insane. Now, even that 2:05 flat is insane pace when you look at everyone else who's running in the 2:07 to 2:08. Apart from Murphy, actually, who lost that, recovering from his mistake, did a 2:06.7, which is quite impressive.
Absolutely.
But yeah, the top 2 are just so fast.
Well, what we could do, we could have a run through, as most people are, with the exception of probably this small collection here, most people are fairly spread out, so let's have a look at who is where in the race. If we head back up to our front pair, there is Jardier just coming across the line, with the map as well. You can see the blue dots on the map are those that are at least 1 lap down. That just shows you, the gap between 2nd and 3rd, which is pretty colossal. As Popsu comes through turn 1, you've got 3rd place, I forgot who 3rd place is.
Tisney? No.
That's Leon, sorry, yes. Leon. So again, having to get used to who's known as well. So our front 2 are absolutely miles ahead. So there is Popsy then, who's just maintaining a 2-second gap to Jardier ahead. They are coming to the end of the S's, just as Leon, even with that 1 second penalty, is coming across the line now. There is GTA Tisney, was in 3rd for a great period of time, finds himself pretty equidistant between Leon and Vernox, 5.5 to 6 seconds respectively. There is our current champion in the M6, followed by Iceman in the Ferrari. Now that is, I think that's Rick in the Lamborghini. He is out of position. He is not the next man down. That is Alexis, who's just done his personal best. Well, look at that overlay. There is Murphy in the Ginetta. That is 8th position. Now we have Typak just coming through the last turn in the blue Ferrari with Oscar Azal in 10th. That rounds out the top 10 position. Next one along the line is the lead Porsche of Tex Wheeler. Again, 4.5 to 5 seconds between the two cars then. Next one down is Relo. in 12th position in the Ferrari. Then is Nesterowitz, as we saw. He's Van Orman now is actually the one behind him. Where has Andrex gone?
Andrex has lost about 5 seconds actually.
Yeah, he has. He's had a terrible. He's already got Rigor on his tail. So what was Andrex's last lap? 2:09. So not drastically slower than those around him, but 2:10 now. Yeah, I'm forgetting where the line was again.
Yeah.
So and that's Rigor having a look on the inside of the M6 now. Again, that's just Andrex choosing to take a wider entry into turn 1, but that does leave the door open a bit for some to sneak on the inside, as Rigor was trying to do. Rigor in the lead. Nissan then is in 16th position as they come through the S's themselves. All it looked like from that camera angle, Andrew was a bit wide. That may have just been the way the camera was. There is Noah in the lead Z4 with Doc all over his tail. Now we saw that was a 3-car train going on there before. I've forgotten who it was. It was 2 Pack was actually involved in that tap. 2 Pack's down in 21st now, as these guys are fighting for 17th position. So Noah and Doc. Oh, it looks like Doc's going to move on the inside of the Z4. He is going to get that done before they get excuse me, 2:10.11. There it is. Oh, fair play by Noah. He's keeping it going, keeping his foot in it. There is a fair amount of straight line speed in that Z4, so they're going to be side by side all the way down that Oblator.
Which is the best BMW? We'll find out now.
And look at that now. Doc, of course, he's going to have the advantage coming into turn 12 as he's got the inside line. He's got just about enough to nose ahead of the Z4, but the Z4's not going to try an undercut on the switchback rather. Undercut, they're not going through the pits. Oh goodness me, I've only just realised it's only 3 minutes of the race there. Wow, that's actually flown by. So Doc does indeed complete the manoeuvre for 17th position. And Noah now has to look straight in his rearview mirrors for that rainbow Lamborghini of Oblator. And not too far back, 4 seconds just under, is Mark Boensi in the next Lambo. And there we see Desert 2-Pack after he's got a tiny bit of damage. Whether that was caused by him tapping Doc, I don't know, but he's lost a tremendous amount of time from that particular battle. There's the next Z4 of Iceberg with MTZ right on his tail, and looks like the Audi is having a look on the outside, coming through turn 17 and 18, but he's thought better of that one, stays in 23rd position. And next one down is the Ferrari Mickersby. Oh, just as we looked away, looked like MTZ was actually trying to move on the inside of 19. He does get it done, and bang, that's the Z4 dethroned from 22nd. As they come around the last turn, looks like the Ants are going to stay. There's Mickersby. I said in the Ferrari because that's what he was last time around. That's Domino in that very battered, formerly flying BMW M6.
He's still driving around without a bonnet, and oh dear me, the bumper just
flapping around. But someone who's having a worse day in the Domino is the next one in line. It is Nick Meadow in that Nissan. What befell Nick Meadow? It's a couple of seconds quicker, and of course the one. Well, we're not 100% sure where he is. We're assuming Rick is in last because of where he was. He wasn't across the line. So
just saw him making pits and stuff, and I don't think we've seen anyone else in the pits.
I shouldn't think so. With less than 2 minutes to go, and nearly 1 minute to go. Then so back up to the front there. Now there you see that's one of the Lambos getting out of the way. So now Jardier finds himself.
Look at the traffic they're coming up to here. It's not far to go in the race. Only a minute left on the clock, which means I assume. They should be able to complete this lap. There will still be time on the clock, so then the next lap should be the final one.
Now, if this puts Jardier off enough, it could help Popsu close in. But I mean, if there's an incident between Jardier and a backmarker, that could really help Popsu. Or conversely, the backmarkers could really hurt.
If this could repair Noah Doc and Obligator, who is being caught very rapidly by the leader here.
Now they will be obliged to move over for blue flags. They will be getting the blue flag warning pretty soon, if not already. I would imagine all three of them will get it at roughly the same time, as they're in very, very short succession. As they now come through the double right-hander, he's got 20 seconds across the line before the flag comes out.
Actually, yeah, that's very close on time. But I think either way, can he slow down and just make this? Is this going to be the final lap? Actually, it's going to be very close for time. There's 5 seconds as he enters the start finish.
He's not going to do it, and the flag is out now. The flag is out.
Flashing his lights, and there we go. It's Wonder Race on his debut. Jardier wins at Circuit of the Americas. Doesn't have to make his way through the traffic. He keeps Popsu at bay. until the end and wins the race. Fantastic debut.
Absolutely fabulous. Unfortunately, our overlay's going nuts again, so we've lost the top two. Basically, when anybody finishes, they vanish off the top of the list for some reason. But Leon, look at that. He was 35 seconds down from the lead, which is a colossal time. But again, a great debut then for Leon in this league. Top the podium 3 being Ferraris. Don't panic, everybody. Not every track is going to be the same. But here comes Leon then to take the third and final. He's very happy with that. Flash of the lights, big old wiggle, and why not? He comes across the line in third position. Then it's GT3 Tisney in the Audi taking that fourth place. Oh, what might have been for him. He crosses the line. That's fourth for him. Our champion Venos has held on to that fifth position. That is Iceman just behind him in the Ferrari. So they have taken their respective positions. Fifth and sixth. Here is Adalexis in 7. That is that's not Murphy. That's yeah, it is
Murphy's
indeed
the next man. And here he comes after a lot of battling, you have to say, in that Sol Ginetta.
Yeah, absolutely.
8th place at the end.
Typek is just fending off Oscar Azal to hang on to that 9th position. Flash of the lights for the blue Ferrari as well. So Zal takes rounds out the top 10. The next one down is the Porsche of Tex Reader. Also a weird noise that comes from that Porsche, I reckon.
It's very high pitched, I thought.
It is, yeah, absolutely.
Very brutal Porsche.
Rito in the next Ferrari along, a decent finish for him to open his point scoring with. 13th,
yeah.
we completed.
We missed 13th there. I think that was Nesterovic.
I think it was Nesterovic, yeah, Vistor Vanelman. Comes across the line.
Just about holding off a Rhaegar there for 15th place, and then 17th is Noah. These are, of course, the final points scorers coming in here. Doc, Obligator. And then actually it's not gonna because 20th was lapped.
Yep, so 18th and downwards was plus 1 lap. And that is everybody that has completed the first race of this season.
Fantastic.
What a race it's been.
Basically only select Rick, so
yeah.
Oh, there we go.
That was
full results, but yeah, what a race! Yeah, definitely a lot of battling. And certainly the first few laps, as we expect, with the 29 car grid, just action everywhere. Quite a few mistakes, a couple of incidents, I believe, and a few cars dropping to the back and out of position. But yeah, you have to say domination from the top two, George and Popsu, in a class of their own. Ridiculous pace, 3.4 seconds between them, but then 40 seconds down to Leon, who claims the podium as well.
And Popsu was the one that claimed that fastest lap with that 25 flat that we saw.
Yeah.
Only 2 drivers in the 25, Popsu and Jardier, but Jardier is the one that... Oh no, beg your pardon. See, Nesterovic got a 25.9.
Oh.
So he managed to get... but he beat... Wow, that's impressive pace by him. He had actually had a pit stop and still finished 11th. Wow.
Yeah, obviously bearing in mind that there were a couple of guys, wasn't it, Rhaegar and Rillo, who had those 30-second penalties. Of course, it remains to be seen whether those, guys, those will be removed in the Stewards panel potentially if they feel like they didn't deserve them. Because obviously 30 seconds does sound quite excessive for whatever they did.
Just a tad.
Yeah, just a tad. So that'll remain to be seen. But yeah, really solid race. I think we might be getting a couple of driver interviews before and it remains to be seen, of course, if any of them feel ready for one. Actually, Leon is sitting there. And John here as well. Oh, so good. We're going to get a race winner interview. That is
I shall grab them.
Very good.
I shall grab them across.
Hello.
Oh. Hello there. That was brilliant timing, Jody. I just dragged you across as you announced your entrance there. That was brilliant. Well, firstly, Jardier, let's come across to you then. So your maiden race with us here at AOR GT3 Elite for the PC side, and taking the win pretty spectacularly. How does it feel to you?
Thank you. It's very great to be here on the Apex Online series. The race was very great for me. I was just trying to keep my difference between me and Popsu. And before the end, I was a little bit struggling with the traffic, as you could probably see in a race. And I had like 2 crisis moments over there. And I was just trying to keep it cool and survive for the end. And I'm very happy with the result.
I imagine you are. I mean, did you feel that it looked like you were able to keep Popsy behind you pretty comfortably? Did it feel like that to you, or were you constantly having to bear in mind that Popsy was behind you?
Well, I was recording all the race and I was talking sometimes a little too much and I lost the concentration sometimes. So it was probably seen in my lap times because sometimes I dropped a little bit. And when I wanted to increase the gap, I just pushed a little bit more and I increased the gap. And when we hit the traffic, I had like 2 moments there when I was really afraid about the contact or something. So I lost my momentum for like 2 and 3 laps and Popsu got a little bit closer. But then before the end, I think we were both really pushing as hard as we could, and yeah, it worked for me. Pretty great.
Excellent, great stuff. Leon, again, another debutant in our league. A pretty solid effort from you as well. How was that? How did that feel for you?
I was really nervous to begin with. I mean, this is the first time I ever do something like this, because since I'm new to sim racing.
Wow,
that's impressive.
Yeah, so I was really pounding, and I went very slow in the beginning. So I lost like 2 or 3 positions. I was down to 6th, I believe. I'm not sure. And then I know Murphy pulled some crazy questionable dive bomb there, and I just decided to back off to not crash and try to work my way up from there. And he defended a lot, so I was really concerned that I wouldn't be able to gain any more positions because he defended good, you know. So I tried to find a good position, tried to go out left, make him brake late or something, and eventually I got him. I never thought I would gain 3rd position, but I thought I could probably gain the 4th, and I caught up to him too. He defended really well as well, but I managed to pass him. And then for a couple of laps, I just tried to see on the scoreboard, see if I gained position on Titney, and I did. So I was pretty comfortable that I probably could catch up to him and most likely force an error or something and pass him. And I managed to pass him too, so I'm super happy for actually even making the pole.
excellent stuff. And wow, if this is the standard of racing we've got, there were some incidents early on, but I can't wait for the rest of the season. And you, Fizz?
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a great debut. The top 2 running away with it. I kind of have to hope that the gap between 2nd and 3rd will be a little bit closer, because Jadir and Popsu, of course, are pushing each other, but left the rest for dead. But of course, Leon, the best of the rest, a really solid podium, and yeah, a lot of battling, especially in the midfield through certain parts of the race. So I'm sure that will continue as we got 9 races to go in the season, of course.
Right, I think we can wind it up at this point. Thank you very much for those that have been in the stream with us. It's always a great pleasure to stream for you. Thank you very much for our drivers for putting on an incredible show for us. And wow, what an opener to this season it's been. Thank you very much, Fizzy, for being in the commentary box with me. It's always a great honour and a pleasure to be alongside you, good sir.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Thanks to everyone who's watching, and I'm looking forward to the next race at Dubai.
Dubai International Circuit indeed, next week right here at Apex Online Racing. If you wanted to get involved, head over to apexonlineracing.com. Always happy to see new faces sign up, get involved. You may have crazy people like me and Fizz shouting out your on-track antics, but for now, we will see you next time right here at Apex Online Racing. Thank you very much, and good night.